Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's talk a little bit about Joe Joyce because, as you know by now, he got beaten by Derek Chisora, the ancient Derek Chisora, the man with 500 miles on the clock. Got floored in the process. Could have won the fight. You can make a case for him winning on points, I suppose, but I thought Chisora won it. But the point is that whereas Chisora has, I made a video yesterday talking about Chisora maybe facing Dillian Whyte for a third time because that seems to be what he implied after the fight. He does have options. Whether he should be fighting now or not, okay, that's an argument for another time. He's going to do it. He wants 50 fights. He's got 48 at the moment. He said he wants to fight in Manchester next. Whyte was mentioned, but we'll have to get himself a British license if he wants that fight to go ahead, which is going to be difficult because he failed his last, failed a PED test. So that's Derek, and people expect Derek to carry on, and he will, because he's so exciting and so popular, he will get gigs. But where does that leave Joe Joyce? Because Joe, like Derek, even though he's had 19 fights compared to Derek's, is it 19 fights he's had? Something like that. 21 fights, I think it's 19, but it could be a few more. But Derek's had 48. Even though he's had far less fights, he's taken some punishment as well, some serious punishment. And after the fight, Frank Warren was kind of cryptic, a little bit reserved about it. He said, well, we'll sit down, and he's got a decision to make, and so on and so forth. He didn't mention that to Derek. He didn't say that about Derek. Oh, okay, Derek won, but Derek is, I don't know what he's made of. Concrete, isn't he? But Joe's kind of the same, and you just, I was talking about this to Lee from Inside the Distance Boxing, and he made a good point that heavyweights don't have to make a weight, so they don't drain the fluid that the brain sits in off. Which if you make weight and you struggle to make weight and you drain yourself, the fluid gets drained off the brain, and the brain rattles around in the skull like a coin in a box, essentially, and that's how you get brain bleeds. There's less chance of it. It's not impossible, of course, but there's less chance of it if you make weight well, and you can make it easily, or if you're a heavyweight, you don't have to make weight. So there is a chance that maybe Joyce and I suppose Chisora could come out of this still with their faculties intact. But the thing about Joyce was he said, I don't want to retire. I'm good to go again. I feel fresh, he said. And he was kind of, quite chipper about the whole thing after the Chisora fight. Now, Frank Warren, I don't think Frank Warren ever really wanted to promote Joe Joyce, with all guns blazing. He had bigger fish to fry. He had Tyson Fury when he was champion. He had Daniel Dubois, who he was grooming to be, a major heavyweight, which has come to fruition, but there's been bumps in the road. I think when he stuck him in with Joyce, Dubois, Warren definitely wanted Joyce to win. He saw... he definitely wanted Dubois to win, and he saw Joyce as being a stepping stone. Well, we know what happened. Joyce won the fight, and then suddenly Joyce got some momentum going. He went over to, I think he fought on Sky, didn't he, on a boxer show against Parker, knocked out Parker. Suddenly, even though he was knocking on in age and he was the unfashionable member of the Queensberry stable, suddenly he was able to, get a couple of fights with Zhang. But, at one point he was the mandatory for the WBO title, just like Filip Hrgović was mandatory for the IBF. And they took a gamble, both of them, and lost, didn't they? Dubois recently beat Hrgović, which was considered by many to be a major upset. And Zhang stopped Joyce twice, the second time a horrible knockout. So Joyce has lost 3 of his last 4, but he doesn't want to quit. And I don't really see where he can go. I don't really see Warren and Queensberry putting a lot of time into him. It's the snakes and ladders thing again. He's gone all the way up there, and now he's down to the beginning again. He's got to start again. And at 38, if he was to go in there with, say, I don't know, Fabio Wardley, or even someone like, an Adelaide, or Who else could we have? Fraser Clark. I mean, I know that Fraser Clark and Wardley have got the rematch. Their rematch, that fantastic first fight of theirs coming up. But maybe if he took on the winner of that, he could gate crash the British scene again and then rebuild from there. I mean, these are heavyweights, so 38 you could argue isn't that old. But I wouldn't. I mean, he's not young either. So maybe he could, maybe they could throw him in with Moses Atama, who's flying. If he was to beat Atama, yeah, that would look impressive, to beat a young gun. Although people would say, well, yeah, but Atama took him on too soon. He was 19 years of age. And I do think there was a danger that Atama is going to be rushed because of this Mike Tyson's record thing. I don't think that really matters, but some people do. But what are Joyce's options? I mean, I'm not even sure where his contract stands with Queensberry anymore. Do they still have a contract with him? Is it finished? Have they got options that they don't want to follow through with? I don't know. A rematch with Derek? No, not really. I mean, it seems that it's rather sad that Joe Joyce was so high up, 18 months ago, and is now considered to be, retirement fodder. But, we have to say that if you took away Joyce's, when he was coming up, Joyce had this, impregnable chin, this steel jaw. If you took that away, what skills did he have? He had a very good jab. His feet were a bit quicker than people seem to give him credit for. But he's got no defence. He's not got any defence. It's frightening how easy he is to hit. I mean, man, maybe if he took on the winner of Anderson and Bacoli or something like that, and I mean, we'd expect him to get beaten. But if he takes that gamble, if he rolls the dice and takes on a big name and wins, then he can come back. I mean, don't forget that he knocked out Parker. Parker went on a winning run of 4 fights in a row, including wins over Wilder and Zhang. So it is possible to come back. But, I mean, Parker and Joyce, you could say that's a sort of apples and oranges argument. I don't really see where he can go. I keep repeating this, but if he's prepared to fight literally anyone, give me anyone, and he's to beat 2 or 3 big-ish names in a row, then he can put himself back in the mix. And you know what? Maybe people will think, oh, he's there for the taking. He's still got a bit of a name. I'm an up-and-comer. I'll have him. He's got to upset the apple cart now. The victory over Cash Ali was very unconvincing, and obviously against Chisora, even though it was a tough fight, and at times it looked like he was on the verge of stopping Chisora, even in the 9th round. Let's put it this way, in that 9th round, if he hadn't been floored, he'd have won that 10-9 instead of losing it 10-8, because he was winning that round, no problem. And then Derek landed that almighty overhand right. But I don't know. You tell me what you think. Does he have a future? Or is his future in the rearview mirror? Can he come again? I mean, it's not impossible, but tell me, if you were managing Joe Joyce, tell me which route you take him down. And yeah, I'll read your comments and see what you got to say. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. I'm always eager to hear other people's perspectives. But anyway, thank you for listening in to the video. And if you could like it, that would be great. And if you could subscribe to the channel if you're new, that would be fantastic. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. It makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.